I'm back at Emerald Bay State Park for unparalleled beauty, history, and nature at its very best. Come on, let's go have some fun.
A Viking castle complete with its own island tea house and waterfalls in the backyard? We're back at one of the jewels of Lake Tahoe, Emerald Bay.
Jennifer, how are you?
Hi, John. Nice to meet you.
Nice seeing you. What a beautiful day, right?
It sure is. We lucked out on the weather today for sure.
Let's talk about this beauty that's behind us. Lake Tahoe and Emerald Bay, they're connected, right?
Yeah, they sure are. Emerald Bay is a glacially carved bay that's connected to Lake Tahoe. This is a state park that was given to the state or sold to the state, I should say, in 1953.
And what about the water source for Lake Tahoe? Where's it coming from? Where's it going?
Well, we have 63 streams that come into Lake Tahoe, and most of those are snowmelt. They come from the mountains surrounding us. So the snow melt, as it melts, it filters through the granite, and the result is amazingly clear water.
Although Tahoe's world-famous water clarity has declined somewhat in modern times, on an average day, you can still see about 70 feet down.
What is the temperature, generally speaking?
Well, the constant temperature when you go down, any distance below Lake Tahoe is about 39 degrees. So that's a winter temperature. The surface right now is in the low 50s. A nice warm summer swimming temperature would be in the high 60s at the surface.
And you go scuba diving here.
I sure do.
And that must be kind of chilly, but what do you see when you're down there, particularly in Emerald Bay?
Well, in Emerald Bay, as part of the dive team, one of our duties is to monitor the state of some sunken vessels. In fact, there is a dive location on the south shore of Emerald Bay. It's a couple of sunken barges. And those were like the cargo ships of their day, taking supplies all around before there was a road here. So scuba divers can learn about how things were back then.
Emerald Bay became an underwater state park in 1994, so the barges are protected and remain in pristine condition.
I see a structure out there on the island. Just give me a little hint as to what that is.
Yeah, that's the tea house, or the remnants of the tea house. Now, the tea house was connected to what some people call the castle, Vikingsholm Castle. During the summer months, when folks were living at the castle, occasionally they'd go out to the island and have tea in their tea house.
Why not, right? You have your own island, you might as well put a tea house.
Might as well.
I say we take a closer look. What do you think?
Sounds great.
Let's go.
All right.
The tea house was burned down by vandals in the 1960s. Now, only the stone shell of the building remains. Across the way, you can see the main house, this magical Nordic castle.
This is Vikingsholm. This was built by Mrs. Laura Knight over 1928 and 1929, and it's right on the shores of Emerald Bay. It's inspired by Scandinavian architecture. When they traveled to Scandinavia, she got inspiration for the design. In fact, Emerald Bay reminded her of the fjord she saw there, and that's why she named it Vikingsholm.
Who was she? Because obviously she had access to money.
Yeah, Mrs. Knight was, she was a single woman when she built this, which was kind of unusual for that area, but she had been married in the past. She was widowed once and divorced once, and she had various holdings and businesses of the time that was very successful.
Did she live here alone?
She had a lot of guests that would join her for the summer. Now you have to remember, in Lake Tahoe, half the year is covered by snow and inaccessible. Certainly in 1928 through the 30s, it would be more or less inaccessible for much of the winter. So this was a summer home.
Mrs. Knight had a staff of about 15 people on the premises in the high season. A lone caretaker and his family lived on the grounds during the remaining months, while Mrs. Knight returned to her main home in Santa Barbara.
And you know what I like about your story is that this wasn't an individual that was a recluse. This was somebody that was social, philanthropic, invited people out.
She certainly was, yeah. She was well known for her generosity. In fact, she would often pay the college tuition of her employees' children.
How long did she own it?
She owned it from the time that she built it until her death in 1945.
9 years after Mrs. Knight's death, California bought the property and turned it into a state park.
This is beautiful, and there is a waterfall nearby.
That's right. Eagle Falls is just behind us. A lot of times you can hear it roaring when we're down here. It's been a really wet winter, so we still have plenty of water flowing in Eagle Falls right now.
Lower Eagle Falls is a two-tiered waterfall. The upper section is about 60 feet high. The lower section features an even more impressive 90-foot cascade of water.
Absolutely gorgeous. Of all the things to do in Emerald Bay, what's your #1 favorite activity?
For me personally, I think getting out on a kayak is one of my favorite things to do out there. It's a completely different perspective being out on the water, looking up at the mountains around us. People can kayak out to the island and hike up to the tea house that we saw too. A great way to spend a day.
You and I think alike, but I'm going to add one.
What's that?
Meeting you. This has been just a blast. Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Likewise, John. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Lower Eagle Falls, Fanette Island, and Vikingsholm. Just some of the reasons why Emerald Bay is one of the gems of Lake Tahoe and a must-see in the Great Basin.
When you come to the top of Eagle Falls, you're rewarded with a world-class view of Emerald Bay.